It is finally a new season on the farm, and if anyone knows anything about me, it is that I love when the fall season finally starts rolling in. You just get that little bit of crisp freshness in the air, cool mornings and evenings, yet warm days. It is my absolute favorite time of year. There are so many things to do, and one of the first things that I love to do is start harvesting the apples from the orchard. It is so delicious to be able to pick an apple off the tree, eat it, and make tons of delicious baked goods. And so that is why today I am making a quick and simple Skillet apple crisp. It is made with a delicious granola of your choice and some amazing apples. And seriously, this is so simple. You are going to be making this all fall long. To start, you just want to get ready your crisp or your crumb on top and then set it aside. To do this, I kind of have two steps. First, you're going to make a little bit of traditional crumb. Just put together some oatmeal, some brown sugar, and then a little bit of cinnamon. You know cinnamon is one of those things that you have to use in the fall because it is delicious and is one of those warm spices that is such a great flavor. But it can overwhelm, so just use a little bit and then mix that together. And then add in your chilled butter. I mean, you could use a pastry cutter or 2 knives for this, but honestly, have any of you ever used 2 knives? I really don't find that really works that well. I'm just gonna use my fingers because it really is such a great tool and it's a small amount, so just get them dirty. It's part of the fun. Once that's all mixed together, you can just dump in your granola. Now, I love to use, of course, a homemade granola, and I know some of you are out there rolling your eyes like, who has homemade granola? And I know we don't all always have time for that, so just use your favorite granola. This adds a great crunch and flavor depending what you choose, so just add that in, mix together, and then set your topping aside. Next, you just want to prepare your apples. Now, I like to use a mixture of a Granny Smith or a little bit more of a tart apple and like a more of a golden delicious or a little bit sweeter apple. You can really use anything that is in season at your local market. You don't want anything that's too soft. You want to stick with something that's a little bit more crisp and crunchy because it will hold up better as it bakes. If you're unsure, just ask your local purveyor or your grocer. They're gonna be able to help you and know what apples work great for baking. Just peel your apples. Now, you can do whatever method works for you. You can use a peeler. I really find that a little cumbersome, so I just quarter my apples, take out the core, and then use a small paring knife and just take off the skin. Now, for some people, this might be a little cumbersome and you might want to use a vegetable peeler, but really this for me works the best, but whatever works for you is perfect because you have to do what works for you if you're going to be baking. Just slice up your apples into a bowl as you prepare them, and then once they're all done, you can just start putting that delicious ingredients inside. Once your apples are prepared, you can just put your 12-inch skillet. I love to use a cast iron one, and you really want to make sure you use one that is safe to use in the oven and on the stovetop. Don't use any of those non-stick ones, and don't use any with like a rubber handle. A cast iron or an enameled cast iron is really important here. You could also use a really good stainless one, but cast iron, come on, it just looks great for fall. Set your skillet on the stove over medium-high heat and then throw in some butter and just let that melt as you prepare your filling. On top of the apples, you can just zest 1 lemon. The zest really brings out the flavor of everything else. And then just juice that zested lemon right into the apples also. The acid in the lemon juice is going to help keep their color, but it's also going to lend great flavor. Once your lemon is in there, you can just add some brown sugar, some white sugar, a little bit more cinnamon. I do love the cinnamon in the fall. And then some maple syrup. Now I know some of you are gonna be tempted to use the maple syrup that is sold in those bottles that is really just maple flavored and not actual maple syrup. I know it seems so easy to buy that, but this really does make a difference. Really there you're just drinking corn syrup, and if you think of it that way, who wants to do that? If you want the true maple flavoring, make sure to buy real maple syrup. It really is worth it. You're using a small amount, and the best ingredients make the best baked goods. Once you add in the maple syrup, just stir that all together until it's combined. And then pour it right into your skillet on the stove that has the melted butter. Cooking this on the stove a little bit first really just helps start off the apples, and that way it doesn't take near as long once it goes into the oven. Stir it around and make sure your apples start cooking. You're gonna hear them sizzling a little bit, and it's gonna draw out some of the juices. Once you see some of those juices, after just a few minutes, you can sprinkle on some flour. This is really going to help thicken the filling, almost like a pie would, and really going to give it that great sauce that you're looking for. Stir the flour in until it's combined, and then let it come back to a little bit of a simmer on the stove. Once it's at a simmer, you can place it right into your preheated oven and then let it bake for a while. I know it seems like you would put the crisp on right away, but really, with the granola already in there, the crisp does not need that long to bake. So pre-baking your apple filling like this is gonna make the whole thing go so much quicker. Did I tell you how quick this was? This is such a quick dessert recipe. You could throw this together right before people come and have an amazing fresh crisp to go. With a beautiful rustic presentation, I may add. Once your apples have started cooking, just take them out of the oven, and here I like to add a little bit of Calvados. Calvados is just an apple liqueur, and I know I so often use a flavored liqueur in recipes. That's because it really adds an amazing depth of flavor and brings out the natural flavors of the fruit you're using. You of course can leave this out, or you could add a little bit of apple cider if you do want a fresh flavor. But don't worry, it is not too much to overwhelm the dish. So just add that in, stir it around, and then you can sprinkle your prepared crumb topping right on top. I know, I wish you were here to smell this because already it is smelling and looking amazing. But just pop it back in the oven for a little bit, let the juices all bubble, and you can always just test your apples if you're wondering how done they are with the point of a knife and seeing how soft they are. Once all those juices are bubbling, you know it is done and it is gonna set, so just take it out of the oven and let it cool. I love to serve this warm. It isn't necessarily like a pie, it's a little bit more rustic, so if the inside is a little bit more runny, that is okay. Because this is so delicious warm, you can serve it just as it is. I really don't think it needs anything, but if you want to add whipped cream or ice cream, I don't think anyone's gonna complain. This is the perfect dish for fall. It can be served in this wonderful rustic looking skillet, and I just know you are gonna love it, so I can't wait for you to make it. If you like this video and this recipe, make sure to click like below and subscribe by clicking the subscribe button and become part of the Gray Boxwood family. I can't wait to share this fall season with you.